So, where were you in Istanbul?
I'm Phil Thompson.
I'm Neil Mellor.
I'm Mark Radley.
Well, my name is Les Jackson.
Sammy Lee here.
Well, I'm John Aldridge.
I'm Clive Tilsley.
I am Guillem Balaguer.
I'm Jay Phillips.
My name is Anılay Yılmaz.
I was working as a pundit in the Atatürk Stadium.
I was there in Istanbul 2005.
I'm the Liverpool fan who went up sitting next to Silvio Berlusconi.
Me and my son were in the Atatürk Stadium.
And I was fortunate to be on co-commentary with Radio City in the stadium.
I was in a hotel room in Chicago with the late Sven-Göran Eriksson.
I was at the Atatürk.
I watched my former teammate Steven Gerrard in the Horseshoe pub in Wiston.
I was in Istanbul with my parents at home watching the game, yeah.
Always nervous before games, but extra nervous that night. And you knew it was sensational and it was everything. AC Milan, Atatürk Stadium, everybody had travelled so far. And of course I was nervous, very, very nervous.
You could feel the excitement in the air, you know, because it was the first time that the Champions League final was coming to our town. So everybody was really excited about that. Like it was, you know, it showed that like now we're really part of the European football.
I didn't expect us to get there, you know, with all due respect, the way it was going.
AC Milan were having a good time of it. We weren't the best team in Europe at that time. Certainly not the best in the Premier League.
Liverpool were a big underdog for all kinds of reasons. League position to begin with. Their route to Istanbul had been dramatic, but it had been perilous.
Let me tell you a story about a couple of stories from the Chelsea game. The atmosphere in Anfield for the second leg was so electric. That got Jose Mourinho thinking. He could see that his players were not at it while they were warming up. Frank Lampard and others admitted that they felt a little bit smaller at that point. So Jose Mourinho walks into the changing room before the players come in and puts in the blackboard 33. And everybody comes in and looks at the board and thinks, what's that? We are 33 points ahead of Liverpool. So stop with the fear, stop with the respect, go and get them. And of course we know it just didn't happen.
So Liverpool arrived as a second favourite. There were a lot of doubts surrounding Rafa's team selection on the night. Players who hadn't played for a long time, players who were carrying injuries, players who were out of form. Barros hadn't scored for ages and so on and so forth.
I always expected us to win. And I don't know why, because getting there was just like, I couldn't believe we'd got there to start with. But once we were there, I thought, I didn't sort of contemplate defeat.
We had something about us. We knew we could defend, we knew we could be organised, and we had to be at our best that night to win the game.
I remember talking to Rafa Benitez before the game privately, and he was like, if we do our thing, we've got a chance, we can do it. And our thing had to do with being careful, understanding every moment of the game, not conceding too early, just building confidence through the game, a bunch of things that simply just did not happen. So the other thing that he wanted the side to do is to adapt to whatever circumstance was taking place. Nobody expected that conceding 3 goals
I went to the semi-final against Palace in 1990 when we were red hot favourites, the cup semi-final. And we were a goal up at half-time, cruising it, and we kicked off the second half. And within 20 seconds, we'd given the ball away. They'd gone up the wing, crossed it, and they'd equalised. And it brought that back to me. We kicked off, gave the ball away, and within a minute, they'd scored. And all of a sudden, and I'm looking at me, my son was 19 at the time, and I'm like, oh dearie me, this is not a good start.
I have a sheet of European Cup final records, you know, hat-tricks, no red cards, and so on and so forth. And I've got fastest goal. And every year you prepare that chart. After a minute, it's useless, that fact. Except this night, it wasn't. And there it was.
To be honest, I thought we responded to that pretty well. We had a lot of the ball. We had a couple of chances. We had that, what could have been a penalty, which basically led up to their second goal. It was only when the third one went in, just before that time, you're like, oh, this could get messy now.
After Maldini scores the goal in the first minute, Crespo scores the two great goals, which were orchestrated by Kaka, who ran the first half, totally ran the first half. And I was like everybody else, I was despondent.
The game itself wasn't particularly one-sided for 20-25 minutes, but the last 15 minutes of the first half, Milan were devastating.
I was hurt. I was looking at the lads coming off thinking, I don't want this to get any worse. They don't deserve to be in a position where they could maybe get humiliated in the biggest game of their lives.
And so it wasn't just that Liverpool had come in 3-0 down, but it was 3 going on 33.
Yeah, like that, you're going, oh my goodness, what's happening? Is this real? And if we had VAR, I'd have been praying for it, something to react to. Must be something going on, because this is not real.
I'm a realist. I'm thinking not the way the Italians played against them on times, and not the way they play and they shut the games out. I thought, it's impossible.
Kaka turns his man, wonderful ball in edge of the Liverpool penalty area, and he's chipped to the right-hand side of Jerzy Dudek. And that could be the end of the Champions League final as Hernan Crespo scores his second.
I did spend part of half-time looking through my notes at record defeats in European Cup finals, record Liverpool defeats and so on. But that's how it felt, that there was absolutely no sign or semblance of a comeback possible.
And half-time, I wanted to go home. It could be 4 or 5. That's the way it was. And I went on to get a coffee, and I could see all these, because I used to go in the media zone, and I seen this table of these journalists from London and Manchester laughing and mocking Liverpool.
I went up to get a drink at half-time. I went wandering through some corridors because I was a bit delirious. And before I knew it, I could see some people serving drinks on what looked like a silver platter behind some glass doors. Being a bit of an opportunist that I am, seen an opportunity, wanted a drink and couldn't get one before that, so I gone in. There was some food in there, there was some drink, and I thought this must have been some sort of, neutral hospitality area. It ended up being the AC Milan hospitality. I took a chance and sat on a seat. I got ushered to move. Before I knew it, I was sat in another seat next to a condescending Italian, I found out, who as we all know, ended up being Silvio Berlusconi. He sort of gestured to the security and the stewards to leave me sat there while I was his playgoat for a little bit, because he was giving me the 3-0 up gestures.
So when I come out, I knew there had to be a change somewhere. And I've heard loads of stories about Jimmy being in the bath and Steve Finnan then having to say he's got to come off, and Jimmy had to get out the bath. And things would have been different if it stayed the way Rafa wanted it at half-time.
Paco Ayestaran and Rafa were walking into this very long tunnel of the Atatürk thinking, Didi Hamann has got to warm up because he's going to come on. There's a big gap in the middle. Let's put him in. And then you had to move the side around. Liverpool had to attack.
What was going on in the dressing room at half-time, we now know was something close to chaos. It was inspired chaos because it came up with a solution.
Basically, he started putting names into the board, and somebody said, boss, you got 10 players on the board. Oh, yes. In the many, many hours that I spoke to Rafa for this book, I left the big question, which was, remember you having 10 players on the board? He says, oh, yeah. And you know what? And they started moving around, things around. And then I had 12 players on the board.
And that's half time, sitting there in the box. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I'm thinking, what do I make of this? And I was so fortunate that Richard Keys, I'm sitting next to him. He bypassed me and he went to Gianluca Vialli and Ray Wilkins. You know, Gianluca, what do you think of this? Oh, great, brilliant defensively. This game is finished. And Ray, who's a lovely, lovely fellow, Ray Wilkins, he went, oh, I can't really see it. Then again, you don't know about Liverpool, but I think it's all over and done. 3-0, there's no comeback from this. So it gave me a little bit of thinking time. So when Richard looked at me and he went, well, Phil, what do you think? And I don't know where it come from, but I said, Richard, you have to believe. If you don't believe, Rafa Benitez might as well keep the players in the dressing room. So you're coming out here, you have to believe.
They went 3-0 down, but again, at half time, I remember just people around me going, all you've got to do is believe, just believe. I don't know, there's just something could happen here. So then as soon as you get the one back, I also think, from there, I honestly thought, we're going to do this.
So I was thinking, just make a game of it second half. And that was the feeling. And I was sat next to big Chris Kirkland, and goalkeepers are crazy, we know that they're crazy. Kirky said, we're going to win this.
I'll never forget turning around saying, well, we'll win the second half, meaning we'll claw a goal back and it'll be 3-1 if you like, you know what I mean? That sort of thing.
The commentator on the Turkish TV, he said, there's no way Milan could lose a 3-goal lead. They say, like, we might as well, like, stop playing. And I was really, like, I don't remember, like, I was really pissed at that. It could happen, and that's when I was, like, you know, maybe rooting for the underdog at that moment.
I think the impression everybody got coming to the pitch for the second half was more like, let's remember that everybody in the stands have made a long way to get here. It was hard to get to Istanbul, so let's give them something back.
Everyone started singing You'll Never Walk Alone at half time, and it was a case of whatever happened second half, the fans that were inside the stadium, there were 69,000 fans there that night. There must have been 60,000 Liverpool. And the fans were just going to support the team second half, no matter what. And that was quite emotional.
The chanting of You Never Walk Alone made Gattuso react. In a way, he was actually saying to his fans, come on, we're winning. You know, we're not hearing you, we're hearing the other guys. Which I think it was Jamie Carragher saw him doing that and started passing the voice to everyone that, you know, they're celebrating already to try to wind his own teammates up.
He scored the first goal, it was Gerrard on it.
I sat on my hands.
Header or goal! Oh, he's got it! And the captain has delivered a blow to AC Milan.
I was thinking then, well, a bit of pride now. We've got a goal back. I was prepared for us to lose 3-1 now.
When it went to 3-1, well, that looks decent. I like the scoreline, you know, we're not going to get smacked.
Maybe subconsciously, I thought, well, I better sell this. Yeah, I can't see them scoring again, but you never know. Hello, here we go.
You get the goal a minute later or 2 minutes later, whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, we're better off now, we've got a chance.
Oh! No! He's got a superb second for Liverpool!
And 3-2, wow, yeah, whoa, could it happen? And then we're in the momentum then, and they're shocked.
This is to do with human mind. Once you knock somebody like AC Milan once, especially second time, they don't have time to recover. It's the time for a third goal.
3-2, obviously I think here.
And then we got the penalty. And all of us, it's so surreal then at that stage. 5 minutes ago, we were down and out, and then he misses it.
Even when Xabi Alonso misses the penalty, he thought, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At that point, while he's running to get the ball again, he thinks, it doesn't matter because if we don't score here, we will score again because the change has been transformed already. But, you know, thank God he did score, and then the rest is history.
3-3. There was no containing myself. I was jumping up and down, you know, screaming red murder as we all were. And this condescending Italian wasn't smirking anymore. He was poking me the back of the shoulder blades. I turned round and he was giving me some more verbal, Italian verbal at me. He wasn't impressed, and but there was no containing me. I was enjoying the moment, obviously.
It was just bedlam, wasn't it? It all went off, and then all of a sudden, the nerves were back, because at 3-0 down, you're nervous about getting absolutely battered, but you're not worried about winning the game. You just keep, you know, a bit of pride. You've got something to lose at 3-3, haven't you?
You know, Steve, they had to come out of nothing, but when the second one went in, they were in shock. They knew it was game on, and then for the third one to come so soon after.
I'm just sitting there before one of the breaks, which I'd keep going out. I'm sitting there next to Richard Keys, and I'm like that, I'm thinking, and I looked out like that. My sons are sitting just outside the window, so they literally got the seats here. You couldn't have written it. And so with every goal that goes in, my sons are looking up at me. I'm banging on the window to them. Sue Johnson, my good friend, she's there as well. 2 rows in front of them. And it was just the most wonderful to be together and so close with your sons. I think it was a special moment.
It's just mad the way it happened. And needed Diddy to come on. He was immense when he came on. You know, defence, what he did, steadied the ship. Stevie G was just incredible.
But then when Stevie pulls them up by the socks, then you know right away that something special was going to happen.
Steven Gerrard was definitely a hero for me growing up.
To be a local lad, to be a Liverpool fan, to do that one moment, you get that chance to lift the European Cup. I just think it's the most wonderful experience. Stevie must have felt exactly the same.
And I was in under-9, and for whatever reason, I can't remember, but I got into the under-10 squad for that season. So the majority of my time was spent on the sidelines and just watch Stephen, and he'd just be doing stuff that was on another level, even back then for a 10-year-old kid. There was almost an inevitability of what he would go on and become, because you could see even at that age, even though we had a lot of good players in the team, it almost each week was like we had Stephen, and you knew you were going to win because you had Steven Gerrard, and he'd be doing things just to win your games practically on his own. He'd pick up the ball, however many people were in his way, he'd just go past them, he'd score the goal. If he didn't score the goal, he'd be setting up. So you could just see, yeah, it was inevitable.
And we know what happened. We know that, you know, Jimmy had to make the goal line clearance. Jersey made the double save, which is just not in the coach's handbook.
And then when Jersey pulled off that save, which was quite incredible to be fair, you sort of think, it's got to be our day.
Surely no chance as well. Ball down, saved by Dudek.
Oh, what a save!
It's going to be falling in. Dudek
What
with
a
a double
save.
save to push it over the top of the crossbar.
The one where it comes across, I think it's Shevchenko, isn't it, where he hits it and Dudek saves it. You sort of think, the name's on the cup there.
Best save I've ever seen. Best save I've ever seen.
As that ball was coming over, I could see the last 120 minutes flashing before my eyes. I just don't see how we missed that.
And even to this day, I mean, in the stadium, it was like, how has he saved that? And even when I've seen the replays, I'm still thinking, how has he saved that?
To see that double save, again, it just cemented the fact that this is special.
In my head, once Dudek made that save, I'm like, we've won this now.
One of the saves is all right, but the second one, I think Jersey just goes like that, and it hits him and goes over.
A magical moment of so many that night.
Somebody up there likes us.
I seen something that was really, I said to Steve, there's a big Liverpool flag. I'm an atheist, but this flag sort of made this movement, which I thought was really, really strange. I said, Steve, it was like a Mexican wave. And it was, honestly, it's just mad. And at half time, I thought, that's a load of bollocks, you know. Yeah. And at full time, I thought, like, was that a sign of some sort? Because it was just, I can't put it into words. It shouldn't have done what it did. Yeah, and at the end I thought, I don't know, because I don't believe in it, but there was something strange going on that night.
I'm not a religious person, so I don't really believe in fate. But when you start to look at how Liverpool got to the final and what happened when the first whistle blew, between that and the final penalty being stopped, it was written. It was somehow written. And I think the longer the night went on, the more Liverpool started to believe that narrative, and the more Milan started to believe that narrative, that we're killing these guys and they're still in the game, and this isn't going to end well.
And I was really confident going into the penalty. I thought, we've got this far, we're going to see this through, because you shouldn't have got to this far.
Watching back, if I had a regret, it was that I didn't say more about the look on Shevchenko's face as he walked forward. I can't remember exactly what I said, but what I should have said was, he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to take this penalty.
The red wine went all over the place. The red wine went all over the roof. I've got it all the ceiling of the hotel room.
The other stuff just happened. It was a chain of events. That was the moment that night unreal, when you see Steve Hill off that trophy.
And I still can't remember the fireworks. I've seen them on the telly since. I can't remember any. My mind was just in the whirl.
I still get hairs on the back of my neck now just thinking about it. Yeah, it's great to come back in football history.
Yeah, I mean, even thinking about it now, I still can't believe the whole experience.
You know, when we celebrated in style, whether it be in the airport, when people with towels and that out couldn't get the flights. I got the airport and there was mob.
I remember standing with Steven Gerrard and I just said, how have you done that? And Stevie's response tells you what sort of person Steven Gerrard is, because Stevie said to me, you played your part. He goes, we couldn't have done that without you. And so Gerrard, in his greatest moment, he was the best player, man of the match, lifting the trophy, the captain. He hadn't forgotten my part 6 months earlier. And I was thinking, that didn't matter. No one's going to remember, that didn't matter, but Gerrard did.
And whoever invented the phrase, you can't write this, must have been in Istanbul that night. But I think what it meant afterwards, and what it still means, why, of all the things that Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool achieved, somehow to the current generation of Liverpool fans, 2005 is still the biggest moment, the biggest night. And it wasn't as if it was the start of anything, really. You know, it dipped again before it came back. But it was just such a special, unique night, and it was that sort of link with the fabulous Shankly Paisley past.
Our greatest ever game result. Because you have to understand, that couldn't have happened to any other team in Europe. Nobody else could have done that. Because there's a coming together that night of fans, of players, of club, where the magic happens.
It has lasted longer. I would say even more than the World Cup in Spain. The year after, or 2-3 months when the season starts, La Liga starts in Spain, nobody's talking about the World Cup. But we haven't stopped talking about it, have we? So this game in Istanbul is the longest in the history of the game.
It's the night I became a Liverpool fan. I'm always gonna remember that. It was the miracle of Istanbul, as people say. So, and it's always gonna be remembered. Like even 30 years from now, we're gonna be talking about it. I'm gonna be telling my children about it for sure. It was an amazing night. It's the best night of Liverpool football, I think.
I wish I'd have been there on the night. You know, I certainly remember where it's like when Elvis died and things like that. I certainly remember where it was for a number of reasons, but it's certainly up there with the best of them, you know. And I'm sure if you speak to the guys who are actually in the squad, they'll turn around and say it's one of the best nights of their professional career.
You've got to remember, Liverpool were nowhere. So we weren't even in it the previous season. There's not another one, just because of the magnitude of the occasion, the opponents, and the unexpected. Yeah, that's right.
And it was that You'll Never Walk Alone at half-time. I've never heard it sang like it was that night. I've never heard it sang since. It was from here. It was from here. It came, and each word was elongated because it was starting so slowly, and people, why are we singing? And it was a rallying call. So it was no other football club would have found that strength and that emotion to actually produce that song at that moment in time, whether the players could hear it in the dressing room or not, it worked.
Just finally then, another sort of poignant line I took from what you wrote about the chapter on that night. You used the phrase, if like, I'll always have that. Is that about, again, the experience and the sheer miracle that was, I guess?
Yeah, it is. I don't know whether you read the rest of the book. You read about, yeah. Well, my son was with me, my eldest son. And we lost him a few years ago. So, and when I wrote the book, I wrote the book because of what happened to Tom. So I wrote about Tom first. And obviously then when I got to the chapter on Istanbul, it brings it all back. It would have been great with any of my children, but the fact that it was with Tom and he's no longer with us, I'd always have that.
Special, very special.
It's very special, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. Massively appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.